her and her pal are having a night out in the garden room where I've been doing all my recording recently, where the signal's perfect. I can't get into my spare room because it's full of cases and clothes. So I'm outside in my driveway in my car with the bloody Wi-Fi box up at the window. So I'm hoping that this is a decent sound quality so you can hear me all right.
Dave, who the fuck pays the mortgage in your house? Get up, tell.
Fucking no chance. You've got all this to come. If we had a dog, the dog would be more important than me. Do you know what I mean? What's happened to the Lyon game?
Fucking hell, Dave. Pardon me.
Pardon you, right?
Pardon, I'm very gassy tonight.
At least it's coming out that end.
Well, it's been coming out the other end as well.
Thank God I'm not doing a live pod.
Especially hotboxing in your car.
Might heat the place up right enough. I'm starting to get cold.
Fail to prepare and prepare to fail.
I know. That was my old high school motto, believe it or not.
Dave, you failed. You're sitting out in the car and you've not got your notes for a game. You have failed, son.
I really have. I'll just have to wing it.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go. Manchester, brace yourself. Rangers are coming!
Hi everyone and welcome to the next episode of the Are You Ready podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek and with me is my co-host Dave. How are you doing, Dave?
Right now, Derek, I'm a bit cold because I have been thrown out of my own house by my daughter, my wife, my son, because they've all got things on. I've got nowhere to record the podcast, so this is dedication. I'm actually sitting in my car, in my driveway, hoping that I can get a decent Wi-Fi signal so that I can bring this podcast to you.
Dave, I have no words right now.
That's dedication, mate. That's dedication.
Dedication? Well, let the listeners know what you've dedicated yourself to and not actually remembering one of the notes you were meant to be doing.
I've accidentally deleted it. I don't know what the hell's happened.
It's okay, Dave. I'll pick up your slack as normal.
Some things never change, eh?
Exactly, yes. So we've got 3 games to cover today. The Hibs game, which Dave will be covering.
Yes.
The Lyon game, which Dave was meant to be covering, but I'm going to have to pick up his slack, and the St Johnstone game, which I'll cover as well. So, without further ado, we'll go down the tunnel and onto the pitch. So the first game, as I said, we've got to cover Sunday the 29th of September. It was a 1-0 win at home against Hibs in the Premiership. Dave, take it away.
Well, Derek, the team that Philip Clement put out for this game was Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper and Jeffrey, who was back from his European suspension, Barron, Raskin, Lawrence, McCausland, Cherney and Igman. And on the bench, Kelly, Dessers, Barriame, Dowell, Sterling, Casawan, Euro, Balogun, Fraser and McInnes. So McKinnon, more like I said, Jeffrey back after his Euro suspension. Raskin, he starts and it's a full start for Hamza Igman. No Diomande, who picked up a knock apparently on Thursday, but the manager wasn't really that concerned about it. So he was out, and Barame also not 100% fit, so he started on the bench. So the game started off quite lively. On the 7th minute, there was a half chance for Rangers. The ball in from the left towards Igman. Hibs don't deal with it. Igman lays the ball off to Lawrence. He shoots for the edge of the box. It's deflected and out for the corner. Really unlucky there. And from that corner on the 8th minute on the left, McCausland, he gets in with the header, but just over the bar. Now, that's a couple of times, Derek, that McCausland has found himself in a great position to score from headers. He'd done the same against Malmo as well, just before he actually scored that second goal. So happening a few times. So he's been working a lot on his left foot, apparently. I think he's maybe needing to be working on his headers as well. So, but really unlucky there. But constant pressure, especially on the right-hand side. Cherney, he turns his man inside out. He gets a great cross. to the back post. It's deflected out for another corner, but basically comes to nothing but good pressing play there. 21st minute, Jefte down the left wing. He bursts into the box. Czerny makes a great run to the penalty area. Jefte finds him, but Czerny just can't connect properly and sends the ball wide, but good running off the ball there. Then a wonderful piece of skill by McCausland on the wing, twists and turn, manages to get the ball back through a sea of legs, don't know how he done it, to Czerny again at the edge of the box. He shoots, but it's charged down by the Hibs defence. Rangers were building the pressure up. We knew, we had a feeling the goal was going to come, and thankfully 10 minutes later it did, and it's a stunner. Tom Lawrence on the left wing. He stays onside. He receives the ball from McCausland, cuts inside and hits an absolutely fantastic curling shot in to the top corner. There's a lengthy VAR check. I don't know if you were like me, you thought they'll find some way to try and chop this off, because it was quite tight, but thankfully the goal stood. But a fantastic goal regardless.
Yeah, absolutely stunner. And, Lawrence banging them in just now.
Yeah, it certainly is. 43rd minute was a half chance for Igman as a long ball was headed out by the Hibs defence. It falls for Igman. He shoots, but it's just over the bar. Really unlucky there. And then a minute into stoppage time, Hibs with the ball into the box from a corner. There's a tangle. The Hibs attacker gets the shot off and Suter goes in for the challenge. His elbow's raised. It goes for a VAR check and the referee does give the penalty. What was your verdict on that one? There's a lot of people are saying with the new rules it shouldn't have been given. There's a lot of folks saying it was a stonewaller. I still can't get my head around the new rules, to be perfectly honest with you. A lot of experts saying it was, a lot of experts saying it wasn't. What was your opinion on it?
Yeah, I think if you look at last year's rules and what the IFAB rules say, then I think, you've got to say it probably was a penalty because he did raise his arm slightly. However, if you're going by the new rules, which was meant to be put in place this season, then it was from point blank range. So how can he get his arm out the way? He's got a split second to make a decision whether to move his arm up or down. He's chose it to move up. Whether that was an instinct thing, whether it was a deliberate thing, I'm not too sure. Some previous referees said that should have been a red card. Absolutely no way whatsoever. But yeah, it's a harsh one. But all we're asking for is consistency. There was a very similar one against Suter on the opening day of the season against Hearts, and it wasn't given because of these new rules brought in. We're going back to non-consistency with the referees again, aren't we?
It was, and we were all a bit like yourself. What is the new rules? Is it, what is it that we're really talking about when it comes to the new rules and how it should be? The manager was certainly very animated about it. And when the game was finished, very animated because his interpretation of the new rules was that shouldn't have been a penalty. But again, after a VAR check, the referee did award the penalty to Hibs, but thankfully 6 minutes into added time, Hibs striker steps up, hits the ball low, and Jack Butland pulls off a fantastic save down to his right. Well, I'm saying it was fantastic. The shot wasn't hit at any pace, but he done fantastically well to guess which way the ball was going, and Rangers managed to go in at half-time still winning 1-0. So a huge save that by Butland at a crucial time, Derek.
Yeah, as you said, it was a bit of a bad penalty, but he's still got to save it at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'll put it down to a decent save from Butland.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a decent first half for Rangers, but the same old, having the vast bulk of the play, but I think the final quality ball into the box is telling, and we've been saying that all season. We've been saying that for quite a few seasons now, haven't we? But we just don't seem to be able to finish teams off. So into the second half, the manager decides to make a couple of changes. Raskin and McCausland are off, and it's Dowell and Barami who are on for the second half. So 52nd minute, a shot by Jefte with the outside of his boot at the edge of the box, but it's well wide of the right-hand post. But saw what he was trying to do. He was trying to put a lot more curl on. Just didn't work out for him. 54th minute, Hibs with a free kick on the right-hand side of the box. The ball is into the box dangerously, completely missed by everyone, thankfully, into the hands of Butland. But that was a real let-off. And at that stage, I thought to myself, this is going to be one of these games that we're either going to be hanging on for grim death or we're going to end up losing a goal. I had a bad feeling about it. 55th minute, Dessers, he's on for Igman, who didn't really set the game on fire at all. Really had a couple of half chances, but wasn't to be his game. So Dessers was on to try and bolster our attack. But, 60th minute, we're really not imposing any kind of attacking play. Very sloppy, inviting Hibs onto the ball. 68th minute, it's another sub, Sterling on for Czerny. So I think that maybe showed you then the manager trying to keep the 3 points, maybe going for a 1-0, which, quite disappointing for a lot of people in the stadium. But on the other hand, maybe the sensible thing to do, considering we weren't playing well at all. 70th minute, and here's what I've got here. Rangers really not at the races at this stage of the game. Very sloppy play. Hibs having most of the ball. Dessers hadn't even had a touch or a pass or anything. So it shows how bad our build-up play was. 74th minute, he gets his first touch of the ball, gives it back to Lawrence, who hits a long-range shot, but saved by the Hibs keeper. And that was our first shot and goal in the second half, 74th minute. 81st minute, ball out to Barami in the left wing. He puts a great ball into the back post. Dessers, he rises up, heads it goal bound, but an absolutely sensational save by the Hibs keeper. I thought it was in the back of the net, Derek, because to be fair to Dessers, he'd done everything right. A lot of people were actually slating him, saying he should have headed it down, but it was a bullet header by him and an absolutely sensational save by the goalkeeper, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. 82nd minute, Hibs straight up. That for that chance that Dessers had, Hibs are straight up from the right-hand side. There's a header. Dwight Gale, he hits the shot and it's inches past Butland's left-hand post with nobody near him, with the goal gaping. A real let-off there for us. 85th minute, Lawrence off, Casawaniro on. So again, an attacking player off for a defending player. Half chance for Jeffrey on the 87th minute with a cross into the box, proper with a header over the bar. I think he should have done a lot better with that. 90th minute, free kick to Rangers at the right corner flag. The ball in and proper with another header over the bar. So 2 in the space of 3 minutes. He really should have had on target there. So poor. 4 minutes at added time. Hibs putting Rangers under pressure. Long throw in, dealt with by Suter, and then a great block by Proper to stop the ball from going near Jack Butland's goal. So that was the full-time whistle after that. We managed to get a victory. It wasn't a classic by any standards. Another fine goal by Lawrence with the winner, but a really poor second half, apart from one great chance, like I said, the header by Dessers, which I thought was the second. But possibly the European hangover, Derek, that we're all used to. But what I've got here, standards really need to improve, is what I had there. And I don't think I could have summed it up any better than that last sentence that I've got.
No, I mean, I think it was the 3 points. Hibs can be notoriously difficult to deal with. Being at 1-0, you were always worried that we were going to lose a goal. However, Hibs, I don't think they had a shot on target in the second half at all. No. Some Hibs fans were saying we were there for the taking. I don't know how they can say that when they were so poor up front. Granted, though, we were so poor up front as well, and we had a lot of possession. We're just toothless in that final third, and we've known that for a long time. The defence stood up well, but again, they weren't really challenged. So it was 3 points, chips and hame type of thing. But we'll take it at this stage now. We're just having to grind out results now, and if that's the way it needs to be for the time being until we can get another window under our belt, then that's just what we're going to have to put up with, Dave, isn't it? Yeah. Unfortunately, I think you're right, because I'm looking at the squad and looking for someone that can maybe give us a wee spark or something, but I'm not really seeing much, Derek. And again, I think it all comes down to the quality of ball that we're playing through. We're getting the odd 1 or 2, which, the vast majority of the time leads to a goal, but the rest of the time it's pretty poor stuff. Yep, it is. However, just before we get into the next game, a couple of days after the Hibs game, we confirmed that Yanis Hadji was back in training with the first team and the contractual issues have been sorted. Never said it directly, but obviously implying that the rumoured wage increase had been sorted. He obviously wasn't in the Euro squad, so he wasn't going to be in the Lyon game, and Clement did confirm that he would need to earn his place and he wouldn't be an automatic starter back in the Premiership in any case. I think ultimately he's been badly advised by his agent and his dad. He did confirm that he was wanting away at the start of the transfer window. Clearly, he couldn't get a deal that suited him. He realised he needed to stay, and the whole team of his backtracked. But the wage issue also was in the way with us as well. He was being paid a lot to play in the B team, so even if he gives us a wee bit, it's better than nothing, because he's probably on about 25-30 grand, if not more. I would rather have him playing in the first team squad, providing at least something, at least another option. He might not be a world beater at this point, but at least it's better than being in the B team and offering us nothing and still draining that wage on us. And we'll see what happens in the January transfer window.
Going by the options that we've got, Derek, and with the amount of injuries that we've got, if he is fully fit, if he's fully match fit, he's actually a very good option for us to have. So, like you, we should definitely be playing him 100%. He is a bit of a fan's favourite. There's a lot of fans like him. So when this first came through, I took it as a huge positive. As a player, it's like the manager having a new player to add to the squad, and we definitely need depth in the forward areas. What position he's going to play, I'm not quite sure, but certainly internationally he was playing wide right, he was playing through the centre as well. So positions that we can't sniff at where a player has quality, or the quality that we've seen in the past at least.
So we'll park that there until the next Premiership game, but the game that we all were hopeful for, given the first Europa League fixture, the 2-0 win against Malmo. We go into the next game, which was on the Thursday, the 3rd of October. It was at home against Lyon in Game 2 of the Europa League, and we got annihilated 4-1. It was only 3 goals in it, but we were really annihilated, Dave, weren't we?
Yeah, completely outplayed, especially in the second half. It was a capitulation by the team, and we got completely ran over in the second half. And I actually think that 4-1 flatters us slightly, because it really should have been a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah. And to make matters worse, John Greig and Sir Alex Ferguson were in attendance as well, obviously in the director's box. So good that they were attending, considering that Alex Ferguson could have went to the Man U game just down the road.
Right, yeah.
Yep. However, we lined up Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Proper, Jefty, Diamande, Barron, Cherney, Lawrence, Barami and Dessers. On the subs bench we had Kelly, Dowell, Sterling, Casawaniro, Balogun, Igman, King, Raskin, McCausland, Fraser, McKinnon and Lovelace. So good to see Lovelace on the bench as well. I'm wanting to see what he can do. Clearly not the game to bring him in though.
No.
However, on the second minute, the ball was played from the right to the left. A nice dummy by Barami, and Jefty picks it up and he crosses in, but no takers. So it was a dangerous cross there. So we started off very brightly. Third minute, the ball was worked into the box. A bit of a break of the ball to Proper on the right side, near the 6-yard line. He shoots, but saved from the legs of the keeper. So that was quite unlucky, that one there. 7th minute, for some absolutely unknown reason, flares and fireworks. Yes, fireworks from the Union Bears, with a banner supporting 2 of their own who have, let's just say, got in trouble with the law. The ref stops the game for at least 30 seconds. All I'm going to say, Dave, is why? I mean, we are going to get fined for that, absolutely no question about it. There's already talk of stadium closures. Rangers should just put any fine we get straight back to the Union Bears. If it's a stadium closure, then the money lost, because clearly it'll be a big loss closing that stand, or if not more, it should be charged back to the Union Bears. The club have bent over backwards to accommodate them in that new section. They're trying to figure out a safe standing. And yes, there is a bit of self-serving with the club helping out the Union Bears with stuff, because they do provide atmosphere. However, they've just shot themselves in the foot once again. We're going to get hammered once again for this, for an absolute stupidity reason.
I don't know if anything has been said. The Union Bears have came out and with a statement to say that it was deliberately done or whatever, or it's just some tube that was standing in amongst them that's got in and decided to fire them off. Or from the TV, it actually looked as if it could have been coming from outside the stadium, but when you look back, you could see that it was coming from inside the stadium. I think it's really reckless. I think it potentially dangerous as well. I mean, could you imagine if it had went even close to one of the other players or anything? We would have got absolutely hammered for that. So I just think it's absolutely unnecessary, and it just brings more heat on the club, which we 100% don't need.
I mean, here's the thing, Dave, and it was said on the Heart and Hand podcast, one of the guys on there, he sits in the Copeland away from them. If we get that stand closed, he's been directly affected. Thousands of other fans have been directly affected by their selfishness. That's what the problem is. Not only does it affect the reputation, it affects the club in terms of revenue brought in as well from that. It affects our own fans. Just wisen up, would you?
Like I said, it was unnecessary recklessness from them, which, as you say, potentially is going to punish the club, and that at the end of the day is the last thing that anybody wants. So, you know, I think they really need to go and have a long hard look. I'm hoping, like I said, that it wasn't intentionally done by them. You know, it wasn't a planned thing, and it was just a couple of idiots that have decided to do it, and are, you know, no longer welcome. But until we actually hear something, we've got to think that it was intentional, which is just absolute madness if that is the case, because like I've said before, it'll be the club that will get punished more than anything else.
Anyway, back to the game. 8th minute, nice move down the left and a lovely ball from Jeffrey into the box. Lawrence had a lovely layoff to the back post, and Czerny blasts it over the bar from 7 yards from an open net. Dave, this was a howler.
Yeah, but it was absolute howler. I stood up expecting the ball in the back of the net. I don't know what I was thinking. A rush of blood to the head. I honestly don't know, but that, you don't get an easier chance than that. It was an absolutely shocking miss by him.
I mean, a lot's been said about Czerny in social media over the last few weeks, and we will get into his press conference after the St Johnstone game. But yeah, players can have stinkers, they can miss shockers. Some of the abuse that they're getting for it is just nonsense. So we'll get into that shortly.
Yeah.
9th minute, a big save from Butland after allowing Lyon to waltz through our defence without anyone putting a challenge in. That's the problem. We've had probably the best of the possession in the first 10 minutes, and yet they're the ones that lay a glove in our keeper first.
Yeah, exactly.
How many more times is that going to happen? And a minute later, they were allowed to do the exact same again, and they went 1-0 up. The ball from the previous move, not cleared. The ball was worked to the right side, into the middle, into our box. Again, absolutely nobody putting a challenge in. Allowed to strike the ball from the left side into the bottom right corner. So simple, Dave.
Yep, it really was. It was bread and butter for them. It was like something off the training ground. We looked completely amateurish once again. And, you know, we were all just left sitting absolutely sickened, considering we should have been 1-0 up at that stage.
Yep. However, on the 13th minute, Tom Lawrence makes it 1 each with almost an immediate reply. Jeffrey with a good cross from the left. Czerny kicks the ball, but it went into the ground. The ball bounces up. The defender headers it back to the keeper. Dessers puts the keeper off and gets a slight touch to it. The ball hits off the keeper, and Lawrence with the follow-up into the net. He did pick up a knock in the process as well, and he couldn't celebrate it properly. There was a VAR check just to make sure there was no foul on the keeper. However, that was cleared and the goal stood. Just a great piece of awareness all around there.
It was. You'll probably tell me I'm talking nonsense here. That should have been Dessers busting the net with that. That's a great chance for him. Thankfully, Lawrence was there, you know, to back it up and bundle the ball into the back of the net. But that really should have been Dessers' goal. But delighted that we went straight back up the field for losing that disappointing goal and getting back into the game at that stage.
Yes, so we thought we were going to keep that and then kick on from there, because we had been playing not bad until that point.
Yeah.
However, Dave, on the 19th minute, Lyon made it 2-1. Barron in midfield with a really poor pass to Suter, which was far too short. Their player nips in there with a quick break. They went 1v1, no tackle, and constantly backing off by Suter. The overlapping player makes it go 2v1 at that point. Our defenders get back and they all go towards the ball, but completely leave the attacker on his own at the back, and the ball is obviously passed to that attacker, who shoots it in more or less an empty net. Dave, that's just basic defending. I mean, take the Barron issue, right? That was a shocker. He's young, only his second European appearance. He'll need to learn on that. Mistakes like that can happen. However, the defending after that is absolutely diabolical. For the fact that they all went running to the ball rather than making sure we're picking up all the men, that's what caused the goal. Marking once again. I'm
going to be a wee bit more scathing on Barron, who all season I feel has been our best player, best signing that we've made so far, but that's shocking by him at any level. The reason that it's shocking was it was a complete blind pass. He never looked whatsoever at anybody that was near him, and he hit the ball before he actually looked, and it was straight to Lyon players. So straight away, that's an absolute shocker at any level by Barron. He'll know that himself. But then after that, just calamity in defence. As you say, Suter not putting in a tackle, backing off. And then, quite rightly, as you say, they nip in. I don't know who was marking the winger or who was supposed to be with the winger that made the overlap and run. That was an absolute shocker as well. And then, you know, a really simple goal for them to put in the back of the net. So complete disaster all round from midfield and defence from our own mistake, and we've not got anybody that can take any responsibility to clean anything up in there, which is, you know, even worse. And, you know, that's a 2-1 down. after getting back into the game and after trying to settle down, it just all comes for our mistake.
Yep. 31st minute from our attack, a fantastic speedy break from Lyon with Fofana pacing down the left side with the ball, gets into the box and shoots, and a big save from Butland. 34th minute, Dessers gives the ball away in midfield, another quick break into our box. They get close to goal and Butland has to smother it. 38th minute, a break on the right, ended in Czerny shooting and deflected out for the corner. 46th minute, Lacazette makes it 3-1 to Lyon. Nice quick play on the left-hand side. Quick passing to Lacazette, who cuts inside and unleashes a stunner into the top right-hand side. There was suspicions it was offside, and I think it was VAR checked. However, there was no offside given, and I think that's because the referee was blocking the view of VAR, which should never be a case, and I think his head was maybe slightly off. That's one of these things getting happen, but again, it was just so poor defensively from us.
It actually came from a throw-in. On the left wing, which was taken. Nobody closed down the player that received the ball on the wing. He was able to turn. He was able to see Lacazette at the edge of the box with no one anywhere near him. Like, nobody near him whatsoever. He had time to look up, see exactly where the goalkeeper was. Don't get me wrong, the shot's sensational. The accuracy's unbelievable. But again, defending absolutely terrible. Nobody anywhere near him, and that's just criminal for a player of his quality.
So, I mean, it was ultimately sliding doors moments in the first half. If Czerny had put that in, that might have been a completely different game that we played after going 1-0 up, but wasn't to be. Into the second half, we made a change with Lawrence coming off injured and Dowell coming on. 52nd minute, nice work by Barami, who gets the ball to the touchline, tries to cross it, but it was blocked by the keeper and then cleared. And then an absolute calamity again. 55th minute, it was 4-1 to Lyon. They were on the left-hand side, worked the ball into the box. Rather than doing a hit and hope cross that we do, they worked it to the back post where Tav was completely not looking where his man was, and it was crossed right to him in a simple tap-in. I mean, what can I say? Calamitous once again from Tavernier, just allowing his man to drift off him. Poor.
It was poor all round again. And when Lyon are playing so well, you just need to get as tight to your man as possible so that if the ball comes to them, they don't get a chance. And we never done it at all in that whole move. There was nobody getting tight to any of their men. They were giving them... Don't get me wrong, the two wingers were sensational. They really were. They had everything: pace, trickery, accuracy. They had all of that. But we made it so easy for them in that goal again. And it culminating with Tav completely losing his man, no knowing where he was, and, you know, an easy goal at the end for them to pop into the net. So again, we keep saying the word calamitous, but that's what it was.
And what could have been a big statement was on the 61st minute, not long after that goal went in, Tavernier came off and Casabanero came on. So when was the last time Tavernier came off in the 60th minute when he's not injured, Dave?
Yeah, I know. Yep. And that's, as you say, that's what we thought. Big statement here. Is this the start of the end of James Tavernier for Rangers, which we'll get into the next game? Apparently not, but that's what we were all thinking at the time.
Yep. 67th minute, a cross from the right into the back post, a header saved at the close range from Butland. The ball was flicked up and kicked towards goal and then cleared off the line by Casabanero. So again, still living dangerously there. 69th minute, Barron and Czerny off, Raskin and Sterling on. 73rd minute, a volley from Dill just inside of the box, which forces the keeper into a great saving out for the corner there. So really unlucky that one there. It's about the only thing he's done in the last few games.
It was. I think it was his only touch in the whole second half.
76th minute, a shot by Lyon at close range, blocked by Butland, who made himself big. It all came from a long free kick down the left side that was allowed to bounce. So poor that again. 81st minute, Barami off and McCausland on. And in 84th minute, a save at the left post by Butland after a shot from an angle. So that's how the game ended up. See, at half time, Dave, like I said, sent a message to you and I sent a message to my mates as well. Just shut up shop right now. Just put 5 at the back. Just shut up shop. Take the strikers off, because we don't want it getting like what Celtic had the day before and a 7-1 defeat. It was nearly going to be that with the amount of chances Lyon had. And the thing is, I don't think Lyon were that great defensively. I think there was the very few chances we did have, we did make them work. We never made the keeper work often enough, but we actually done something. But their attack was just devastating, that front three from them. And that's what I highlighted earlier on when I was covering this game, is we get down the wings, with hitting hope crosses in,
Yeah,
looking for
that's it.
one man.
Yep.
They actually work the ball into the box rather than just doing the hitting hope cross. Sometimes you can't legislate for getting beaten by a better team who've got a lot more skill. The front three certainly had a lot more skill than what we've got. However, defensively, they were vulnerable. So that's what's annoying, because we are so powder puff up front. And that sliding doors moment with Czerny ballooning it over the bar, it's one of these things. He was the wrong player in the right position, and that happens to us so often as well. How many times has Tavernier picked up the ball at the back post rather than a second striker or a number 10? It happens so often, and we need to get better at this.
Yeah, definitely. But you were talking about shutting up shop, Derek. It's not as if the manager didn't have those types of players to on the bench to go for it. He had Balogun, he had Sterling, he had Casawan-Yiro. They're all defensive players, and all very good defensive players as well. So we've got the personnel to change the formation. We were saying that about the Celtic games as well. Why not put 3 centre halves in there? Why not put Balogun in the heart of the defence between Suter and Proper, or put Casawan-Yiro in next to Suter just on the right hand side to form a back three? It's games, certain big games like that I say to myself, why don't we just do what Walter Smith used to do with the Rangers teams in Europe, the successful ones, and say nobody's going to beat us at the back. We're just going to shut up shop and try and get something on the break. It wasn't pretty, but it was successful. But that's what's getting me. If he had a wealth of attackers on the bench to bring on to try and change a game, I'd say, right, fair enough. But we don't. We've got more defensive players on the bench and experienced ones at that. So why not use them? Why not try something different? Because we didn't want to go in, because we've got on paper much more difficult games coming up than Lyon. So why not try it and change it? I just don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an option. It's the life of a Rangers fan just now. It's what we're up 1 minute and thinking things were going to start changing after the Malmo game, and then back to a slight bump with Hibs being so flat, and then this game just poor. And we're back feeling woeful again. But
yes,
we'll go into the next game. It was Sunday the 6th of October. It was a 2-0 win at home against St Johnstone in the Premiership. So we lined up Butland, Tavernier, Proper, Suter, Jefty, Raskin, Diamande, Barami, Czerny, McCausland and Dessers. On the subs bench, Kelly, Barron, Sterling, Casawan-Yiro, Balogun, Igaman, Hadji, Fraser and Dowell. So as we got into before, that statement, substitution, never really was a statement because Tavernier started the game.
A lot of people were saying for games like this, why not put Sterling in at right back? Why not start to bed him in? So I don't know. At the same time, it's a game that we're expecting to win. Is he putting Tav in just because he thought that we would maybe not be under as much pressure again? I just honestly, I give up trying to second guess certain things like that now in football, because I thought that was the start of the end of James Tavernier. I really did, but it wasn't the case.
He's making a rod for his own back, Clement here, and he's coming under a lot of heat now, and I think that there's a lot of Rangers fans discontented, and yes, things are not great just now, and I think some of the fans are going overboard with what they're saying, and there is a transition. Somebody was slagging, I seen a comment on Twitter tonight about, see if you think this is a transition, then what the fuck have we been doing the last 5 years? No, it is, because it clearly is. We're having to ship out that many players. It shouldn't be happening after 55. We should have kicked on, but we are where we are just now, so there's no point harking back to days gone by. We are where we are just now. It is a transition period. It's going to take a few windows to sort it out. You need to give managers a bit of time. This is the reason why we're in the position we're in, because we're sacking so many managers. We're going to go over old ground here, but we backed the wrong manager ultimately with the money, and we're now paying the price for it. And we only backed him because it's what the fans wanted and what ultimately what was needed at the time. So it's a vicious cycle. It is a transition, but this is where Clement needs to start getting his head on, because he's going to die on this hill with the fans if he keeps playing the same players in the same positions who are giving you the same shit, which I'll get into with Tavernier later on in a big incident. However, obviously the other thing there I mentioned was Hadji being on the bench, so that kind of ties in with Clement mentioning the fact that he wouldn't be an automatic starter as soon as he comes back in.
Yeah, but even so, being back in, being on the bench and with the option to come on, I think for the stadium and the fact that that there was a big absence of fans there because of the timing of the game being 8 o'clock at night, I think it was a good move because, him coming on would have really have lifted the stadium, and you'll get into it later on. The reception they got was excellent.
Yes, just on that fact as well, it was the 8 o'clock game, so an absolute disgrace because of just circumstances that St Johnstone wouldn't play ball as well about moving to the game to McDiarmid Park. Obviously, the Great Scottish Run was on, so there was road closures earlier on and police resourcing and all that kind of thing. So there was probably more fans than I expected there to be in, but it was still a lesser crowd than you would normally get for a Premiership game.
Yes.
However, on the second minute, it was a weak shot from Diomande outside the box and it trundles towards the keeper who easily gathers. 8th minute, a corner from the left, a powerful header at the back post from Dessers, but he gets under it and puts it over the bar. That should have been on target, Dave.
Yes, definitely. 100%, yep.
11th minute, St Johnstone with a shot from distance but weak and wide. 18th minute, Tavernier with a free kick from 20 yards in the centre, over the wall but over the bar as well. May have taken a slight nick off the head one of the St Johnstone defenders, however nothing was given for that. 20th minute, the ball fired towards goal from an angle on the right but saved by the keeper's legs and rebounded out. 24th minute, a corner from the left not cleared. Dessers clearly getting the shirt pulled. No VAR check, that was obvious to us anyway. The ball was not fully cleared, knocked about the box, ended in a half volley from Tavernier just wide. Dave, the referee was looking right at that shirt pull, nothing given. VAR doesn't appear to have checked it, nothing given. What's the point of VAR if they're not going to give penalties for that? And by all means, the ex-referees have all said that was a penalty every day.
It was an absolute shocker. The referee just wasn't interested. He wasn't looking anywhere near him. And I'm actually, I don't know if it's the same one that we're talking about, but I mean, I sent you a message at the time. Dessers was getting pulled back quite clearly, but the defender also had his arm right round McCausland's neck, his whole arm right round his neck. This was happening behind where Dessers was getting his shirt pulled, and the referee missed both of them. And as you say, there was no VAR check. I mean, what is the actual point when we can see it quite clearly? Nothing happening. So I think there should have been a lot more made about that, because it was absolutely shocking and clear for everybody to see that there were two clear fouls in there at exactly the same time. So just baffling.
I mean, it goes back to the one of the games we covered in the previous game where Dessers getting manhandled to the ground, and one penalty was given, one wasn't. So yeah, I don't know what VAR's playing it this year once again. 30th minute, Tavernier with a long distance free kick, but it went well wide. And on the 34th minute, we opened the scoring with Czerny scoring. It was on the right hand side, past to Czerny, who megs the defender. He was clearly obstructed, however. He uses his strength to shrug him off, takes a touch and unleashes a lovely shot on the edge of the box into the bottom left corner. That was a fantastic goal, Dave, and very well done to hold off the defender as well. Use his strength, great shot.
Yep, it had everything, a bit of skill, a bit of composure, accuracy, excellent goal. And for him as well, coming under a lot of flack, a great way for him to respond.
Yes. And then the last piece of play in the first half, from the 45th minute, Barami loses possession in midfield. The St Johnstone player charges with the ball. Jeffrey matches him with pace, makes the Saints player hit a shot from 30 yards and well wide. That was really, really good from Jeffrey there, just able to match him. Poor from Barami losing possession in midfield, though. Once again, another half chance caused by ourselves.
Yeah, I know.
45th minute though, into second half, Diomande and McCausland on, Hadji and Barron came on, and certainly a great reception for Hadji.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, I think that was quite smart by the manager, because we weren't playing particularly well at that stage. We were certainly the better team, but no a great spark. So that was good timing, I think, to give everyone a lift in the stadium, and great to see them back.
And then on the 58th minute, Czerny made it 2-0 and he got his brace. Barron was completely wiped out in midfield, but the referee waved play on as he managed to get the ball to Dessers just beforehand. He had his back to goal and he passed it to Hadji. A lovely long ball to Czerny on the right side of the box, who controls it. It was a difficult ball to control because I think it was actually overhit by Hadji as well. So he had to control it at height, cuts one way, cuts the other way past the defender and side foots it into the left side of the goal. It was a great finish. I don't know whether he meant it though, because it seemed to trundle. But once again, great play from Czerny, and certainly answering his critics to that game.
Yeah, it was. It was great awareness by Hadji, to be fair. As you say, rustiness at the ball was overhit, but the way that Czerny was able to bring it down, it was definitely meant, because he only had one thing on his brain, and that was to get a shot at goal. He managed to do it. It's obviously taking a wee bit of a nick, because it was a bit of a trundler, and the goalkeeper completely missed it. So, it's taking a slight deflection, enough to go underneath the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. So, no, absolutely delighted for him. And it came at the best time, because we were starting to get that way, like we were against Hibs, that things just weren't going our way, and we were starting to struggle. So just delighted to get the second goal.
Yes. Minute later, Dessers came off and Eggman came on. Certainly Dessers wasn't happy when he came off. I don't know if it was unhappiness because he was brung off, or the fact that he was no happy with his performance, but he never really had the greatest of games.
No, he definitely didn't.
No. 62nd minute, St Johnstone on the right fizzes the shot past the left post. 67th minute, Tavernier to Czerny on the right, who drives the ball into the box, passes to Eggman, who shoots into a crowded box and manages to make the keeper pull off a decent save. 68th minute, St Johnstone down the right, Proper was beaten, and the attacker shoots, and a big save from Butland. Ultimately, if he had squared that ball and he wasn't so selfish there, the player who, surprise, surprise, I'm looking at an image at just now, he had drifted off Tavernier by about 5 yards, and it was a simple tap-in for him. Once again, that was just pure stupidity there from the attacker there for St Johnstone. If he had squared it, that was a certain goal. But once again, showing the deficiencies of Tavernier's defending. Yeah. We were let off with that one there.
Yep, we really were.
73rd minute, Clement clearly has an issue with players on 2 goals and going for their hat-trick, because Czerny came off, Casawanyiro came on. 78th minute, Proper plays a lovely ball over the top of the defence to Barami, who is drifting into the box. Keeper comes to meet the ball. Barami tries to lift it over the keeper, but the keeper gets a hand to it. It was flagged for offside in any case. And on the 81st minute, Hadji gets a straight red card after a VAR check. He had lost out, the boy had turned him, he was stretching for a needless ball in midfield. It was completely unintentional, and he caught him high in the ankle with the studs as well. When I first seen it and I thought that they were going for a VAR check, I think everyone was the same with this. They're like, what's that going to a VAR check for? But when you seen it back from another angle, it was a bad challenge. Folk are saying it's a leg breaker. I don't think it was at a pace that it was going to cause a leg break, but it was a nasty challenge anyway. As I said, completely unintentional. It was just a lazy challenge. What's more frustrating though, Dave, is the fact that it was in midfield, there was players covering, there was no need to do it. Why do players do this? Just a nonsensical challenge in midfield, not a dangerous place, when there's cover, and he's got himself sent off for that.
I think it was more the occasion got to him. It's his first game back after a long time being out. Maybe didn't think he was ever going to play again. It was a big occasion for him. It was definitely not intentional. It was just a really silly, reckless challenge, as you say, going for a nothing ball. Unfortunately, it's been quite a dangerous one, and the referee has reached for the red card. He can't have any complaints, but I'll put it down more to the occasion and, emotion going for that. He didn't have his sensible head on at that stage, and unfortunately, it's cost him. Thankfully, it's not cost the team, though.
Yep. 83rd minute, Barami off and Sterling on. 84th minute, Nicky Clark had the ball in the back of the net. However, it was ruled offside. He had strayed just offside. The VAR check confirmed that. It was a nice ball floated from the left to the back post, drifted off his defenders. Nice control with one touch and a shot into the back of the net with his second touch. His head was offside as the ball was played in, so living dangerously at that point there.
Yeah, definitely, yep.
86th minute, the overhead kick by the Saints player just outside the box, but a comfortable save for Butland. 89th minute, Butland, this is comical, he charges out of his box on the left hand side. You thought he was going to handle it, but no, he done a Superman diving header to put it out for a throw. Just brilliant there. And on the 92nd minute, just to round out the game, Casawanyiro with a great shot from outside the box, forcing the keeper into a great save and out for the corner. So game finished 2-0. Delighted with the 3 points there. Not the greatest of games, not the worst of games either. It was again 3 points in home.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. Just glad that we got the second goal when we did. Like I said, that it could have been tense for us, but this isn't a blight on St Johnstone at all, but they're not playing that great. We should be putting teams under much more pressure. We should be getting more goals, but it's just not happening like that. But first and foremost, the 3 points is the most important thing.
Yes. So like I was talking about before, Czerny done the post-match as well, and if anybody hasn't seen it, I would advise to go and see it, because it was, I wouldn't say emotional, but it was, you could see that he was hurting with all the comments that were made against him, and he said he woke up in the middle of the night thinking about that miss, and he's had to delete his social media, and he says that's on him because he's getting really invested in it as well. So I think us as fans sometimes forget that these are humans, they're people. They've got other things outside of football as well. So the abuse that some of their players are taking just now is not needed at all. You can have a go at them for not playing well or causing issues in the team like we've been doing with Tavernier. We're not personally having a go at him, calling him shite or anything. We're saying that, no, he's lacking, he's having the same issues time and time again. Maybe it's time he gets a wee rest and his time at Rangers is maybe over. We're not personally abusing him like some fans are doing. So I think if you are one of these fans that are personally abusing players, contacting them on social media, have a look at that Czerny interview afterwards, because it just lays it on the line that these are humans. And yeah, just because they get paid thousands a week doesn't give you permission to then go and abuse them that way. That's not the way the world works. So it was a really good interview anyway. And,
It was. I think it was a very professional interview by him as well, Derek, because he wasn't there looking for the sympathy. He wasn't there. He was basically there. He said to the fans, look, that was a nightmare by me. I know I've got to do better. I want to do better. But there was no sympathy vote at all there for him. I actually thought he'd done really, really well with the interview. And as you say, it's worth watching it, definitely.
Yep. So just to cover the games we've got to come, there's obviously a 2-week international break now, which I won't be watching, Dave. The next game back after that is Sunday the 20th of October. That's away against Kilmarnock in the Premiership. That's a 12 o'clock kickoff. Both of us will be away at that time. You will still be in resort. I'll be on a flight home, so there wouldn't be a post-match after that, unfortunately. Thursday the 24th of October, that's at home against FCSB, so still a Bucharest to everyone. That's in the Europa League Game 3, that's at 8 o'clock kickoff. Sunday the 27th of October at home against St Mirren in the Premiership, that's a 3 o'clock kickoff. And to round out October, Wednesday the 30th of October, away against Aberdeen in the Premiership, that's at 8 o'clock kickoff. That's the big one, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got some really big games there. I mean, a hard game away against Kilmarnock. Then obviously the European game, which is now massive, because that's a game that we really need to win at home by all costs. So that's a huge game as well. You said we've got St Mirren also, but which will be a tough one, and then that huge game against Aberdeen, who are flying high, joint level on points with Celtic at the top of the table. So they've got a great start. It's always going to be a huge game at Pittodrie. They're going to be well up for it. So we really need to be at our wits. And if we could get maximum points for those 4 games, Derek, that would be absolutely sensational. I'd be delighted with that. So that's what we've got to aim for.
You're not asking for much, Dave, are you?
No, I'm certainly not.
So we'll see what happens as ever.
Yeah.
So we'll now go into the news. So the first thing we've got to cover here is the Director of Football Operations, Craig Robertson, has left. He joined in 2016 from Falkirk as Head of Business and Education and then became Director of Football Operations in June 2023. I'll be honest, Dave, I've no idea who he is, what he done, why he was even in that position in the first place. This is the problem just now, that with Bisgrove, you could see the obvious path where it was really a business one. He was a head of commercial, then to CEO. That's clearly a business path there. But head of business and education to director of football is complete madness. It's completely different areas of business as well. So I don't know what made him qualified. I don't know who he is, as I said. Maybe that leads into why we're such a basket case just now.
I don't know. And, you know, we spoke about it briefly before. All of these vacancies at the top level now that all need to be filled. There's no smoke without fire. Is there something bigger happening behind the scenes that we don't know about? There's been murmurings of takeovers which have been strongly denied by the remaining board members. It seems to be all too much of a coincidence. All of these people all leaving their positions, leaving them all open. it's a strange one. And you say that the club at the moment, behind the scenes, is a complete basket case. We don't know what's happening. We don't know who to listen to, who to believe. And again, we just have to hope that something happens soon, which is going to be for the the good of the club. But that's certainly a huge role to be filled, and we need someone with vast experience to come in and fill that role. We don't need it to be a trial of someone that's in the door already, that's never done the job before. It needs to be somebody who's got a proven track record of being in that role already.
Yeah, I mean, that's us now without a CEO, a director of football, head of academy, and we've got a temporary chairman. As you said, with the murmurings of takeovers and stuff, this is the exact type of thing that would happen if a takeover was going to come. Or it could be just that there's a big problem within the club just now, and people don't leave positions if there's no problems. So, yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Yeah. We could be just really that much of a basket case just now.
Oh, God.
Next thing here, as part of the COVID inquiry, I know it happened a while ago, but Hamza Yousaf's WhatsApp messages were getting looked into. When chatting to Jason Leach in the middle of him making an arse of himself over the Willy Wanker video, he said that he was pissed off at the BBC constantly asking questions about the situation. I mean, wow, Dave. Imagine journalists asking questions of the then Justice Minister about prejudging a live investigation into what was clearly a doctored video.
A doctored video, yep.
Yeah. I just wanted to highlight this, maybe not specifically for that reason, but for another part of the reason, is that when about a month or so later, he was obviously getting questioned and getting chinned by Rangers chiefs, and they were clearly getting pissed off about the timescales returning to stadiums for fans, etc. And this is what he said: getting some heat from Rangers managing director Stuart Robertson. He won't stop messaging. I'm unsure what discussions have happened with RFC up to this point at national local level, but they're clearly peed. The reason why I want to highlight this is because it shows that clearly at that time Rangers in the background, and in particular the much maligned Stuart Robertson, were hounding people. So just because we're not seeing things happen publicly doesn't mean Rangers board and people at the club are not doing things on our behalf. I know our communication hasn't been great of late, especially with the stadium thing, where we should have, when there was a delay happened and it was going to be inevitable that was going to happen, there should have been weekly updates to the fans to tell us what the progress was, and that never came. Yes, so there's the issues there. But just because we're not hearing anything, it doesn't mean things are not happening within the club. Doesn't mean that they're just saying, oh, fuck it, we'll just leave it be and we'll see what happens and all that. So this is why I don't get too involved in a lot of the hysteria around a lot of the off-field stuff just now, and even the on-field stuff just now as well, because things will happen in the background, or you would like to think anyway. And it's much like as well about, I seen something talking about the contract of Cortez, about how it's an obligation to buy, and surely there's some sort of clause in there that we can cancel that obligation if he doesn't play. And I'm like, I'm not even getting involved in that, because ultimately it's a contract situation. It's a sensitive issue. It's going to be confidential. We are not privileged enough to know that information, and nor should we. We're fans at the end of the day. And I think the 2012 has scared a lot of fans, thinking that, and it's made them entitled, or think they're entitled to know certain information which is commercially sensitive. We are fans. We're never going to get to know all that kind of thing. Shareholders might get to know things certain down the line with certain things, but us as general fans won't. So I think some people need to calm the beans, as it were, about what they think that they're entitled to know. And
I mean, when it comes to contracts and things like that, there's lawyers involved. We could be opening ourselves up to litigation. If we speak about players, and they would have agents involved and stuff like that. So, you really can't. There's a lot of people surmising that they know what's going on, but they really can't. But no, I agree. There's certain things that can't be discussed, and there'll be a lot of private stuff involved in that as well. So, we really can't say that. I can see where the frustration is coming, especially with Cortez, because it just seems as if we're never getting the guy fit whatsoever. And if he's not going to be fit for a long period of time for us, it's not worth him being at the team. So I can see where the concerns are, but I can also see that the club can't get into the more personal and private matters that go on within contracts and what's agreed with other clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Talking of contracts, Sterling has signed a contract extension that keeps him here until May 2028. So I'm glad at that. People questioning it again, why is he getting an extra contract, etc., etc. But I think what happened this summer, where 5 players all going out the door at the one time because of their contracts run out, I think this might be a case of trying to stagger when contracts are going to end. So he's a good prospect. He's certainly got potential in various positions. So, it's a good thing that he's here. Plus, it means if somebody does come in from and he does shine, then we can command a wee bit extra because he's got a bit of more in his contract.
Yeah, I just think he'll be wanting to push on himself down and get a regular spot. Like we spoke about James Tavernier coming off, I think a lot of people expected him to start to be introduced more. So only time will tell, but it certainly looks as if the manager's got faith in him by, with that contract being offered to him. So here's hoping that he can push on, because he is a bit of a fan's favourite already. He's able to play in a number of positions and he's always done well. So I would like to see him getting a run at his preferred position, which is right back. So only time will tell.
Yep. Next thing here, Super Ali was told he was getting an OBE earlier this year. However, he picked it up on the 2nd of October from Prince William at Windsor Castle. Great video of them chatting. Rangers acknowledged this with a small presentation at the Lyon game with an OBE 9 shirt, a few tunes that he likes on the tannoy as well. And always wonder what people say when they meet royalty like that and situations like that. I mean, I do hope he said that you do know that your grand's portrait and now your dad's portrait and your portrait will be up in her dressing room at some point.
Yep, as I've said before, I listen to Talk Sport for that Ali McCoist in the morning. Unfortunately, when I listen to Ali McCoist, I've got to listen to Alan Brazil as well, which isn't great to listen to, but great to listen to Ali McCoist. And they all asked him about what was getting said, and they spoke about football apparently. And I don't think Ali McCoist would ever be short of words, Derek, regardless who he was talking to or under what circumstances. The guy's a star. Absolutely delighted for him. One of our heroes, certainly one of my heroes, and everybody at Rangers just absolutely adores him. So, and as they said on Talk Sport, the only thing he's got left to do now it's the knighthood. So it could be Sir Ali McCoist. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, he's got one other thing, Dave. King of the Jungle.
King of the Jungle, exactly. That's another big rumour that's doing the rounds. Something I've not watched for years, but if Super Ali is in it, I will be glued to the TV.
That'll be gold if he does do it. So
definitely.
Hope they get that sorted out.
Yes.
Last piece of news here I've got is unfortunately talking about Celtic, but I have to agree with them in this case here. Earlier this season, the SPFL executive signed another TV deal with Premier Sports, out with the deal they've got with Sky just now, and that was to show another 20 Premiership games this season. Celtic have opted out of that. Apparently each game is worth £75,000. Celtic have stated it's not fair on their season ticket holders to change the date of the time and date of games for £75,000. Now, I hate saying it, Dave, Celtic are 100% correct in this. The problem is most of the other clubs in the league would see £75,000 as a lifeline, so they're going to jump to accept it. It makes me question two things, though, that stand out to me. Why is the SPLF executive once again accepting a pittance for our games? I know you're talking about a different level here, but you're talking into the millions, multi-millions for each individual EPL game, where you're getting £75,000 up here. Secondly, what kind of deal is it if it allows clubs just to opt out of it? One of your two biggest clubs in the country, they can just say, no, we're not doing it.
They're not selling it as that. The SPFL are not selling it. They're selling it as, we've just signed a deal worth so many £1 million. They're not turning around and saying, oh, we're signing a deal that's going to be worth 75 grand per game, because that's absolutely pathetic, and Celtic are 100% right. Again, that's the two A's, heaping praise on them, Derek. We need to stop that. But it is absolutely spot on, and it's going to have to take... You've got to think that right now a club like Aberdeen, who are playing so well, they're joint top of the league, they must be saying to themselves as well, surely per game we can get a lot more than that. The same with Hearts, they must be saying exactly the same. Same with us. It's not going to change unless we get a group of clubs all refusing to do it. But as you said, there will be smaller clubs in there whose chairman will grab the money while it's there, and we're at the end of the day just completely selling ourselves short. And it's not going to stop unless we do that. But, you know, it all comes down to being able to get a group of teams together to do exactly like what Celtic have done there, and then you would see the change. But it's a pitiful amount of money, but that's not the way that they are selling it. They're selling it as being a multi-million pound TV deal, but it's actually pathetic, isn't it?
Here's the thing, Dave, quick calculation. You get 50,000 fans paying a fiver for that game. There's £250,000.
Yeah, yep. There you go. So even take a club like Hearts or Aberdeen, who could maybe get 15,000 fans there. You know, that's, you know, let's say £15 each, you know, to watch it. They'll be paying more to actually go and see it. So it's poor by even their standards. And when the women's game in England are getting so much more money from TV deals than what we are, it shows you the state that we're in, and the people who are running it are just complete and utter jokes that shouldn't be in there.
Yep. So it's time for Fesshole Corner now. For my birthday one year, a friend sent me a picture of her tits, so I sent her one of my cock. This has continued for 15 years now, even though both of us are since married. It's daft, but it's always my favourite birthday present. I wonder how long I could keep thinking that. I'm hoping this is a completely different person. For my wife's birthday, I got her a set of vibrating anal beads that activate via remote clicker. Decided to take them for a test drive myself before giving them to her. Turns out I enjoy it so much I wear them to work. Livens up boring meetings. Wife got flowers instead. I just paid my bill in a restaurant and was about to leave when a little kid came up to me and said, "My mummy says your glasses look funny." I told him, "Tell your mummy she's a cunt." He did, of course. Not proud of myself, but they were my new glasses. And to round the stories off this week, sometimes when I'm home alone, I put the shower on full heat for half an hour so that I can enjoy a lovely steam room whilst having a relaxing shit. On that note, we will end the podcast.
Yes.
So, yes, there's going to be a couple of weeks gap, so we'll not be back for a wee while, Dave, but that's no difference from us anyway, normally.
No, yep.
Yep. So, yeah, I'll say enjoy. It's more like endure this international break. Hopefully the team come back relaxed and fit and ready to kick on in some important games as ever. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. We need some players back as well. So the size of the squad, we need them all back fit, vying for places in the team. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully everybody does return fit and healthy and raring to go, because like we said a minute ago, we've got some huge games coming up.
Yes. So all that's left to say is thanks for listening and goodbye.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.